Even though we're told not to, humans are super susceptible to trying things from TV at home. This is especially true when the TV show or film features a particularly tasty-looking treat. It's difficult to watch characters chowing down on delicious food without a snack of your own to enjoy while watching. Can iconic snackers like Cookie Monster from Sesame Street or Homer on The Simpsons unknowingly convince us to go out and pick up their favorite dessert simply because we're always watching them enjoy it? Well, today we're feeling impressionable as we figure out, did Homer Simpson change donut sales? But before we do donuts in the parking lot, why don't you hit up that subscribe button? Then head on down to the comments and let us know what other televised tasties you want to hear about. For now, history. Donuts, within their unbroken circle of dough, contains a storied history which goes all the way back to the 19th century, and perhaps even earlier. The first time Americans got a taste was when Dutch ollie cakes, or oily cakes, were brought to Old New York, then called New Amsterdam. In the mid-19th century, a woman by the name of Elizabeth Greger was making her own style of deep-fried dough using nutmeg, cinnamon, and lemon rind, and would sometimes fill the center of the dough with hazelnuts or walnut. She dubbed this mixture of dough infused with nuts a doughnut, and the name kinda stuck. Gregory's son, a ship captain named Hansen, is often credited with giving the doughnut its signature hole, either by cutting it with a tin pepper box or skewering one on the spoke of his ship's wheel. However it happened, the doughnut as we know it arrived and only continued to grow in popularity, especially by 1920 when Adolf Levitt invented the first donut-making machine in New York City. This allowed the mass production of donuts costing less than a nickel during the Depression. American soldiers in World War I were served donuts in trenches by women volunteers later known as donut dollies, a tradition which was repeated in World War II and Vietnam. Dedicated donut shops began popping up across the United States, many after the 1934 World's Fair in Chicago, where donuts were promoted as the food hit of the century of progress. The first Krispy Kreme opened their sickeningly sweet doors not long after in 1937 and had 29 stores in 12 states by the 1950s. Dunkin' Donuts was founded around that time in Quincy, Massachusetts, and eventually grew into a national chain by the following decade. But perhaps the most substantial bump Donuts' popularity has ever gotten came in the 1990s, when Simpsons creator Matt Groening made the decision to pair the patriarch of the family with his favorite treat, donuts. Homer Simpson, the leader of the Simpsons clan, has become almost synonymous with donuts. From the early days of the series, Homer can be seen gorging himself on donuts while working at the power plant, enjoying a box or two at home, or hitting up the local Lard Lad donut shop. Some episodes even had storylines focused entirely on donuts, such as the Treehouse of Horror 4 segment, The Devil and Homer Simpson, featuring possibly the first appearance of the infamous pink icing donut, which has now become synonymous with all things Simpsons. The image of Springfield's most famous donut has been used in advertisements, t-shirts, mugs, and even has a spot on the menu at the Lard Lad donut shop in Universal Studios. Among other flavors, the shop in Springfield, USA features the iconic pink donut in both normal size and a whopping 8-inch giant, fittingly called Big Pink Donut. Big Pink Donut. It has also inspired small Simpsons-themed shops and promotions found in Santander, Spain, Homer's Donuts in Montreal, Quebec, and a familiar-looking treat called the Homer at the Donut Bar in San Diego. Aside from inspiring its own treat in Simpsons land as well as real life, Homer Simpson's desire for donuts also led to the creation of the limited-time Simpsons-themed donut at Krispy Kreme restaurants in Australia in 2018, despite a disparaging episode about the country in 1995. Western Australia Krispy Kreme's classic original glazed donut was dipped in white chocolate truffle with strawberry flavor and rainbow sprinkles, as close to the source material as they could get it. Across the pond in Springfield, New Zealand, the town unveiled a sculpture of the decorated dessert, and despite being destroyed by arson, the donut statue was so iconic that the town rebuilt it again, this time out of concrete. Garfield the cat rolled his way onto the scene in 41 newspapers across the U.S. on June 19, 1978, with his first declaration to the world being the words, "Feed me." Those two words would carry the outrageous orange oppressor across 5 decades of fat jokes, television series, films, and all the merchandise he could get his paws on. Of all the running gags throughout Garfield's storied history, his most defining characteristic, aside from a severe hatred of Mondays, is his love for lasagna. On July 15, 1978, 1978, less than 1 month after his debut. Garfield declared his love for nature's most perfect food, lasagna. Since then, lasagna has been mentioned or featured in hundreds of comics across Garfield's girthy tenure. Garfield's creator, Jim Davis, says Garfield's appetite is an extension of his own, with lasagna being a favorite, and diets being particularly abhorred by both creator and creation. Although Davis has also admitted he wishes he made pizza Garfield's signature dish, since they're easier to draw. Garfield's popularity grew as the comic strip went on, appearing in more newspapers across the country and contributing to the broader cat boom in the US by the 1980s, sharing the spotlight with the interesting new musical, Cats. The 1980s were also known as the Greed is Good era, a trope which the gluttonous Garfield fit right into, and one which skyrocketed his popularity. Literally, as a matter of fact, with a balloon in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, New York Times bestseller lists, and even the cover of People magazine. As time went on, lasagna and Garfield became synonymous everywhere except Japan, where Italian restaurants had not yet hit the scene, and Garfield's favorite dish was sushi. However, the rest of the world caught on to the famous feline's lasagna love affair, and some cooking enthusiasts hoped to capitalize on Garfield's celebrity. In 2013, Gooseberry Patch published a book, Garfield: Recipes with Catitude, 230 mouth-watering recipes, with an entire chapter dedicated to pasta, pizza, and of course, lasagna. Garfield continues to claw his way to the top of the comic mountain, generating $750 million to $1 billion annually worldwide in 2018. His love of lasagna is just as prominent on newspaper pages as well as in his 2024 film, where he is buried in cheese on top of a giant lasagna. Never change, Garfy baby. Back in 1992, Disney released the film Mulan, and as a promotional tie-in, McDonald's restaurants introduced Szechuan sauce, a special dipping sauce for nuggets and fries that was discontinued shortly thereafter. Little did they know, they were setting the stage for one of the biggest marketing disasters in recent memory. Fast forward to 2017, and the popular Adult Swim cartoon Rick and Morty was in its 3rd season. One episode referenced the lengths Rick goes to in order to go back in time to retrieve some of the coveted sauce for himself, an endeavor fans would soon find themselves mirroring. The inside joke of creators Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland spiraled into an internet sensation, with many fans clamoring for the sauce to make a comeback, a wish which McDonald's was excited to oblige. However, with some stipulations. Creator Justin Roiland received his own large bottle of the sauce as a thank you from McDonald's, who around that same time announced a limited-time one-day promotion where limited quantities of the sauce would be given out at some locations. McDonald's employees were surprised to learn that limited quantities meant about 20 packets per store, with some receiving none at all. But limited supplies did not stop thousands of Rick and Morty fans lining up to receive the sauce, many chanting Szechuan sauce, and some locations even resulting in physical violence, which prompted police intervention. McDonald's apologized for the fiasco, saying it was humbled by the overwhelming response and vowed to make it up to fans, especially those who had driven for hours only to leave empty-handed. After thousands of complaints online, McDonald's announced that it had ordered 20 million packets of the Szechuan sauce and would be releasing them nationwide beginning February of 2018. Despite neither Adult Swim nor creator Justin Roiland being involved in the promotion, Roiland was still quick to express his disappointment in fans' behavior. Easy to say for the guy with a whole tub of Szechuan sauce. When the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles made the jump from comic book pages to an animated television series, their popularity skyrocketed to the top of the children's entertainment list. But in order to make the Turtles a family-friendly property that could be marketed to children, some of their more violent tendencies had to be toned down, and the titular Turtles had to be given characteristics that could interest the youth of the 80s. The violence became more playful, while the Turtles received distinct personalities and catchphrases. They were also given a relatable new attribute in their love of pizza. What followed was a period of complete turtle mania, pulling in merchandising deals and food tie-ins. In fact, from 1988 to 1997, Playmates sold about $1.1 billion worth of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys, making them the 3rd top sellers of all time. Pizza Hut saw this surge in popularity and said to themselves, "Hey, we make pizza. Maybe we can do something with this?" They partnered with the Ninja Turtles for multiple promotions, including the 1989 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game and the 1990 NES version that followed. Both games included Pizza Hut imagery throughout, on walls in the background, and on power-ups found throughout the game. When the game was ported to the Nintendo Entertainment System under the new name Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Arcade Game, the packaging even included coupons for pizza deals at Pizza Hut. When the Turtles hit the big screen in 1990, they used Domino's for their product placement within the film. However, Pizza Hut attached themselves to the home video release with a $20 million marketing campaign that included coupons and a famous I Play Right Field commercial, which was shown before the VHS copies. And there was no skip ad button back then, so impressionable children excited to watch the Turtles would first have to view a Pizza Hut commercial every time. Now that's advertising. That same year, the live musical stage tour coming out of their shells came to a city near you, with Pizza Hut shelling out the $29 million bill in production and marketing. Full turtle suits and new costumes featured in the musical spectacle, with the Turtles singing their own songs and playing their own instruments. The 40-city tour was also broadcast on pay-per-view and promoted on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Fans going to the arena to see the Turtles live were treated to songs like Pizza Power, which was sold exclusively on cassette tapes through Pizza Hut and moved about 2 million albums after only 2 months. Pizza Hut stuck with the Turtles throughout reboots like Michael Bay's 2014 TMNT film, which prompted Pizza Hut to build a life-size pizza throwing tank that mimicked the toys sold in the 90s. When Mutant Mayhem came out, Pizza Hut again staged a day-long promotional event where Subway pizza deliveries in New York became a phenomenon. The recent partnership with the 2023 film seems to indicate that Pizza Hut is in it for the long haul, wherever the Turtles may find themselves next. It seems as long as there are fictional characters in the world, creators will attempt to associate some kind of favorite food to bring them down to earth. Popeye the Sailor Man, for instance, was tough to the finish thanks to copious amounts of spinach, a vegetable he helped popularize throughout the 1930s, with some estimates as high as a 30% increase. In that same universe, J. Wellington Wimpy became synonymous with hamburgers, thanks to his catchphrase, "I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today." A 1942 edition of the Statesman Journal credits Wimpy with introducing and popularizing hamburgers, a typically American food, in England. This eventually led to the creation of the British fast food chain Wimpy. In the early 1990s, video game enthusiasts were introduced to Sonic the Hedgehog, a fast, blue hedgehog with a penchant for chili dogs. Sonic's original association with chili dogs came from a 1992 write-up which said, "Sonic's Uncle Chuck made chili dogs, and Sonic was the delivery person." The 1990s were a time of junk food culture, and Sonic's association with chili dogs fit right in, further highlighted in comics, cartoons, and even the recent films. However, the chili dogs never quite became the cultural sensation Sonic probably hoped they would. So, what do you think? Did you ever eat something because a cartoon told you to? Let us know down in the comments. And while you're there, check out some of these other videos from Weird History Food.